What's up to Lion Talk Live? We love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Do Crew. This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it is Monday morning. It is Lions Talk Live, and over the weekend, some information came out about something we're all going to want to probably break down a little bit. If you had any questions about this front office, everything they like to do, the trades Brad's make, the overpaying he makes, whatever you want to say, I think we got a lot more information that maybe, just maybe, Brad Holmes in the Detroit Lions front office knows a lot more about the NFL draft board than perhaps those over at ESPN, whoever else you want to list as far as mock drafters. It would appear the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes were among one of many teams trying to make that move on up to get with the Jacksonville Jaguars and to acquire a player of interest that, let's be fair, during the draft, when it happened, there were people in national media, YouTube media, all sorts of media just coming after the Detroit Lions. Brad Holmes saying that they overpaid. They don't know what they're doing. Could have got that guy in the 29th round of the 2014 draft, whatever it is. Hey, they all got it. They threw stones at Brad Holmes, but not so fast. We're going to dive into that during the main topic of the day and just show that maybe, just maybe, according to about, 4 other NFL front offices, they wanted that guy too, and they were willing to pay pretty high a price to acquire him. We're going to get into that momentarily, but before we get into the 5 headlines and now and everything in between, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Making that push on up to 13,700 subs, and we are now 28 subs away. So if you can help out with that, that would be most welcomed and great of you. Also, if you have a free second of time, because it doesn't cost you a dime, reach on down and hit that thumbs up button, that like button. Hit all the buttons while you're down there hitting them, because we're trying to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last but never least, if you are perhaps considering buying, selling, whatever it is with property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. Let somebody with over 30 years of experience within the real estate industry work on your behalf, not overcharge you, make sure we're taking care of you, make sure the lender isn't overcharging you, title company, etc. It can be for vacant land, commercial property, a new house, old house, everything in between. Get a hold of me. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. We can have a quick conversation, what I can do to try to assist you with all these things. And again, try to watch your back. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's get the show rocking and rolling and going and get into the first segment, which is, as you know, is 5 headlines now. Yeah, the jobs of front offices and scouts, and I know we've all talked about this with the Do Crew many a times. There's so many things that go on behind the scenes. And hey, just because one team thinks a player is pretty good doesn't mean somebody else would think it. But when we're going to get to the main topic today, I think we're going to say that there were a whole lot of teams, when they left the Senior Bowl, they looked at a particular player and said, yeah, we want that guy. All right, anyways, back to the 5 headlines now. Lions have third toughest NFL schedule in 2025. Story by Christian Boer of SI.com. I bring this up, and I got us into the 5 headlines now with this story, just because, as we all know, in about a week or so, the NFL full schedule is going to be out, whatever it is, 9 days, 8 days, something like that from now. And yes, the Lions are at least anticipated on paper to have the third toughest schedule. Now, you guys know as well as I do, teams change so much from year in and year out. It doesn't mean every NFL team isn't competitive, but you look at like last year, the San Francisco 49ers. When that schedule first came out, everybody thought, man, this battle is going to be for first place in the NFC. Everybody wanted it. That's why you got it on, prime time, late night games so everybody could watch it across the nation. And obviously that didn't hold water. You can go through it year in and year out, and teams do fluctuate and change. One of the nice things in recent years with the Detroit Lions is their strength, their ascension towards the top of the NFL is pretty much remained intact, even with the gajillion injuries a year ago. Utilizing projected wins for every NFL team, Sharp Football Analysis has released strength of schedule rankings based on the combined projected win totals for every NFL team and / their opponents. So the Lions play 5 teams that won the respective divisions last year, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, and yes, the Los Angeles Rams. Of those 5 games, only Tampa Bay is at home. So they're going to be on the road for a lot of good games. Detroit's 9 road games feature 7 teams that made the playoffs, including a rematch with the team that knocked them out of the postseason with the Washington Commanders. Additionally, they will travel to Philadelphia again to play the Eagles. All of this is in addition to 6 total games where they will play against their division, which includes 2 teams that made the playoffs and a third in Chicago, who has aspirations to really ascend up this year. We get it. It's going to be a tough schedule. Are they going to be able to repeat a 15-win season like they did a year ago? We'll have to wait and see. I'm still going to hold to my guns and say the Lions win somewhere between 11 to 13 games. That being said, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the team does on the field. If you guys had a guess right now and it's way too early, go ahead and throw it in the comments section. Let me know your predictions for the Lions record at the end of the upcoming season. I've told you mine. Hit me with yours. We'll go from there. All right, next to the 5 glorious headlines now. There we go. Open thread. Which round 3 or later Lions pick will have the biggest rookie impact? Question mark. SB Nation, story by Jeremy Risman. If you had to go through and guess who would be the number 1 performing player, 3rd round or later, let me know your thoughts. They're going to go through it. As far as Risman's thoughts, it is Isaac Tisla. I get it. He says, let's go through them one by one. Isaac Tisla, he says, is his anticipation to be potentially the biggest producer out there. Now, right now, if you had to ask me, and I had my anticipations for the depth chart yesterday, I've got Tisla as number 5 starting out. That doesn't mean by the middle of the year that he's going to remain the number 5 wide receiver on the Lions depth chart. I have Khalif Raymond because of his experience, because of his wheels, familiarity, the coaching staff knows him, all those kind of things. He's a veteran. I got him at number 4, and then Tim Patrick at number 3. But could Tisla, as Risman is suggesting, move on up the charts, maybe eventually become the number 3 wide receiver? I think it's possible, but I also think one of the strengths, and we've talked about it a lot last week with this Detroit Lions team, is going to be depth. People are going to be, battling to get their snaps, battling to get their, time on the field, etc. And I think iron sharpens iron. Guys want to be the guy. They want to cheer each other on because obviously if you're successful, it makes the team successful. But there's a amount of pride that comes into it with any NFL player, or we could probably just say athlete. It doesn't have to be an NFL athlete. And I do think ultimately that's going to make everybody better. 5th round pick, Miles Frazier. Hey, we've been talking about could both him or, Ratledge go ahead and be starting guards, or maybe even in some sort of situation, a backup center or whatever it may be. Could Frazier get on the field? Absolutely. I think if you look at both him and Ratledge, they are going to have some potential to get on the field. Christian Mahogany, Graham Glasgow, they're the incumbents. They probably should win the spots, but it doesn't mean that will happen. Both of these rookies have potential to get on the field. Yes, I didn't put Ratledge on the list, and neither did they because, he was a 2nd-round pick, not a 3rd or later. 6th-round pick, Edge Ahmed Hussein. As far as him, I think we all get the story by this point. Yes, he's going to run through walls, do all those kind of things. Got tons of upside potential. I just think, even though I know Pierce in the comment section isn't a fan of Davenport, I think the Lions do have a lot of good depth at end, opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I think it's going to be a tough ask for him to get up there and now steal snaps from Pascal, Alaquin Muhammad, or whoever else you want to list on there. But maybe it can happen. 7th round pick, Dan Jackson. Could he get the most snaps? I doubt it just because his lack of playing experience. But that doesn't mean he isn't going to get a ton of snaps on special teams. Doesn't mean in certain packages on defense. Perhaps if he gets more experience as the season goes on, he can get out there. Hey, the kid's all sorts of athletic. Kid, runs through walls, all that kind of stuff. Good stuff all around with looking at him. I just think it's going to take some time for him to get acclimated to the NFL game. But you know what? If he makes one of the 4 safety spots, then you know what? That shows the Lions have a lot of faith in him. Here's probably one of the biggest question marks out there, and that will be 7th-round pick Dominic Lovett. We all get it. This kid, like so many of the Lions draft picks this year, or even undrafted free agent signings, they're crazy athletic, and Lovett is no different. He's crazy athletic. Watching him in his film, breaking things down, seeing stuff of him in pro days, yada, yada, you can see why the Lions want him. And, hey, he was there in the late rounds picks or whatever. Throw a pick at him, see if it, where it goes with it, because you can't replicate what this kid has, at least not easily. How about that? So if he gets out on the field, I could see like punt, special teams, return, stuff like that, kickoff, punt return, and then perhaps in time move on up. He's without a shadow of a doubt, I think, at this point. If Tisla is number 5 on the wide receiver depth chart, then, Lovett's got to be number 6, unless one of these guys really steps up and surprises in training camp. If you guys had a guess, though, who will be the most productive rookie this year, 3rd round or later, go ahead and throw it in the comment section. Let me know. It'd be interesting to see what you guys have to say about it. All right, next to the 5 glorious headlines now. Lions earn praise for adding undrafted free agent receiver with elite athleticism. The heavy story by Nathan Doherty. What did we just talk about in the prior segment or headline? Lions got athleticism. They got athleticism across the board. And I think everybody would agree when looking at different players the Lions brought in, you're going to see one thing in particular. They wanted to get quicker, faster, stronger, bigger, and I think they did a great job with it all across the place. You guys know the Lions have become a bit of a destination for free agents, and not just, NFL current player free agents, but also undrafted free agents. You also see some undrafted free agents saying, hey, I'm not trying to go to Detroit. Look at all that depth. Look at all that talent. I'm not going to latch on there. Even if I play out of my mind, I'm going to, struggle to get onto the 53-man roster. I need to go somewhere that has less talent at my position. Caleb Kenny James, though, is called an elite athlete. He's, the kid's got wheels. He's a wide receiver, for those who don't know, productive wide receiver at that. An elite athlete. How about that? Kenny James is 6 foot, 190 pounds, ran the 40-yard dash, and here's where times kind of vary on him. We'll just say somewhere between 4.32 and 4.40. So you get it. He's got some burners. He can get after it. He's one of only a few people in college last year that had that kind of wheels and yet that kind of production. For those who don't know, he had 51 receptions for just shy of 900 yards in 2024. But he's a bit of a gamble. But you know what? He's an undrafted free agent. It didn't cost you anything to acquire the kid. The Lions want to get faster. They want to get bigger. They want to get faster. This kid, I don't know if he's going to make the team, because you look at that Lions depth chart, it is pretty stacked at receiver nowadays after this draft. If he makes it, that means somebody else doesn't. And who would it be that doesn't make it? That's one of the real finds of this upcoming training camp. You're going to see everybody battling against everybody. I think we all get Jared Goff's probably safe. Heck, man, you could probably say Jack Fox is safe. Penei Sewell's safe. There's some guys on this team that are safe, but there's a whole lot of guys that understand they're going to have to fight tooth and nail, whatever you want to say, throughout training camp just to make the team and get the depth chart spot. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Detroit Lions big winners in latest post-draft power ratings. Athlon Sports, story by Nikki Meyer. Nikki Meyer says, hey, Lions, you know what? They're not too bad. Thinks that the Lions have a whole lot of talent abilities. And you do see that coming across more and more the NFL. There's expectations appear to be growing for the Lions after the draft. People can say what they want about the Lions in the draft. There are a lot of people that gave the Lions like a D grade, a C grade, etc. But I think now that more and more people, national media, YouTube media, whatever media you're looking at, have had a week or so to step back and look at things, you're seeing more and more people come up with the same kind of thought process for the team. And I'll see if I can make this a little bit larger here for those looking at it. Here are those post-draft power rankings from Fox Sports. You got the Philadelphia Eagles at number 1, and look who's at number 2. The Detroit Lions. That's right, your Detroit Lions. Buffalo Bills, number 3. Baltimore Ravens, 4. The Kansas City Chiefs at 5. Washington at 6. 9 is Tampa Bay. 10 is Green Bay. 11 is San Fran. 12 is Cincinnati. You can see it on the screen. I don't have to walk you all the way through it. But yes, the Detroit Lions, at least right now, going into next season, are considered the second best team in the NFL. And I don't think I'd have a hard time selling anybody really on that, whether you're a Detroit Lions fan or not. You look at, again, how the depth of this team, how deep they are seemingly at every spot, and especially the offensive line, the defensive line. I mean, that defensive tackle room, we talk about the Lions' offensive line being having all sorts of depth, especially if you're talking about the guards and center now. But look at the defensive tackles for the Detroit Lions. And yes, some of these guys can flex out and be a big end opposite Hutchinson on certain situations, not on a full-time basis. But I just don't really see any glaring holes in this team. If you guys do, go ahead and let me know. I just don't see it. And it appears Detroit Lions, hey, across the nation, and Fox Sports is saying we're the second best team in the NFL going into it. Hey, it's pajama awards because you know what? It's the off season. It doesn't really mean anything. But it is nice to see that other teams, other people, other professionals, whatever you want to say, are looking over our way and saying, hey, that Detroit Lions team is looking pretty scary coming up this year. All right, notes. The athletic data and math gives Lions 2025 draft class an F. SB Nation story by Morgan Cannon. I brought this up for one particular reason. Look at all these headlines we've had today talking about the elite athleticism for the Detroit Lions, what they did in the draft. Hey, you could have an opinion one way. Somebody else is going to have the opposite opinion. I brought this story up just to kind of, note that you do have somebody out there saying that the Lions draft class is slow, encumbrant, can't get around, just not athletic. They missed the boat on this and that. Whether or not this writer, Cannon, made this just to have a headline, or maybe they had to turn in a story and they couldn't come up with something, I would say most people would say the Detroit Lions really got bigger, faster, stronger with all these draft picks and undrafted free agents, or undrafted free agent wide receivers, etc. Morgan Cannon, though, is one of a select few that looked at the Detroit Lions draft and said, hey, it's not so great. It's not so athletic. They look like they're running in mud. If you want to check out the story, go for it. I respectfully disagree with the assessments made here, but it does go to show you can have data and you can make it look any way you want. So go with it and show some respect. But hey, I strongly disagree with this story. All right, that's it for the 5 headlines. Now let's go ahead and get on over. I can't wait to talk about this with you guys and see what you guys have to say about it. Let's get into the main topic of the day. All right, main topic of the day. If you guys go back to the start of the third round, or third round, day 2 of the NFL draft, when the Lions made the trade and they gave up 3 third-round picks to the Jags to go up and move up to number 70 and make a selection. We all get it, who the selection was at this point. The 6'4", big boy wide receiver, Isaac Tisla. And yes, you probably know a lot of people, whether it was on ESPN or if you're watching on NFL Network, really kind of scratching their head going, what in the heck are they doing giving up that kind of draft capital to move up and get the number 70 pick? I get it. We all had stuff to debate. We all had questions. What the heck is going on here? Some people in the national media, YouTube media, print media got, visibly upset. I get all that. But if you guys also remember, we all talked about it. The Duke Crew pointed out you had to have something going on that we're not yet privy to behind the scenes to say, hey, something's up here. The Lions just gave up a lot of draft capital. They wouldn't do that for no reason. And now we know the rest of the story. If you guys remember that saying. So it would appear the Philadelphia Eagles, they thought Isaac Tisla was worth going up and getting. When they found out the Detroit Lions had contacted the Jacksonville Jaguars about this potential trade up, they got involved. You know what? Denver Broncos said, not so fast. We all get it that, Sean Payton likes to have a spread offense, likes to open things up. You got a good young rookie quarterback, had a phenomenal season a year ago. He said, hey, maybe we need to get a little bit of this cheddar. And then Sean McVay, who apparently thinks the Lions, he's probably views the Lions as one of the biggest challenges for the Rams to get back to the Super Bowl. So, hey, you have to make a choice if you're a coach. Do you rather have that guy on our sideline, or do you want us him playing against us? We also get, a couple seasons ago, they hit on Puka Nacua. That worked out well. So the Rams scouting department said, this guy's pretty legit. We want to get into it. From all reports, it sounds like Detroit and the Rams separated from the Broncos in Philadelphia, pretty quickly in the process of negotiating for this pick. I want you guys all to sit back and think about one thing, though. We talked about the varying different opinions on players that you got in the 5 headlines now. Elite athleticism. Man, Detroit didn't get athletic. And again, reason why I put that in there. Now you got 4 of the NFL's prominent offensive teams coming in saying, yeah, this cat can play. This dude can do some stuff. We need to go get him. And some of them, it sounds like the Rams offered their current pick at the 3rd round and next year's 2nd round pick for him. So they were willing to go pretty far up. And, that there may have been more to their trade offer than just that. I have confirmed, it has been confirmed, I should say, nationally, that the Rams offered a 2026 2nd round pick along with that current pick that they had in that round to move up. So Brad Holmes had to make a choice. How much do you believe in this guy? Clearly, the Philadelphia Eagles, Denver Broncos, the LA Rams, everybody else seem to have the same mindset. This dude is going to be a good player in the NFL and is worthy of the investment. And again, I get national media slammed it, yada, yada. Go with your own thoughts on it. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. But Brad Holmes, if you look at his time in the NFL, either with the Rams or the Lions, he's identified a whole lot of mid to late round talent that was worthy of a pick, worthy of a trade. Heck, he was, while he wasn't the only person involved in getting Cooper Kupp, he was a part of that front office that made that move. Same with St. Brown, same with Jameson Williams. So he's clearly, made some great moves. Understood that Tim Patrick, while he's had some injuries, this guy can still play. Bring him on in. We'll take care of you. So now that you got all this information, does it make you feel better or worse about that trade up? Where, hey, we gave up 3 third rounders, 2 of them in the future to come on up and get this kid. Because again, you had to make a choice here, Brad Holmes. The Rams offered a 2nd round pick. Eventually it got down to just the Lions versus the Rams. Do you now feel better knowing that these four teams all want the same wide receiver? For me, just in a selfish personal reason, you look at Sean Payton and his track record. Clearly the guy has an idea for talent. Clearly he understands what an offensive player should be. The Rams, Sean McVay, hey, I think we can all agree in the last however long he's been in LA now, 6, 7 years, 8 years, whatever it is, he's got a pretty good idea for talent. So you know what? Boom. You're competing against 2 of the better offensive minds in recent NFL history to acquire a particular player. Now I know Howie Roseman gets a ton of credit over in Philadelphia for being a brilliant GM. I think a lot of Lions fans think, man, if we don't have Brad Holmes, we'd take that guy in a heartbeat because what he's done with Philly. Now look at what he was willing to do. He wanted to go get this guy, Isaac Tisla. So the fact that you have not just Brad Holmes, but these 3 franchises with brilliant offensive minds, brilliant general managers, all saying the same thing, that guy needs to be on our team. How does that make you feel about Tisla? And does it raise your expectations for Isaac Tisla? Do you look now and say, you know what, we're not really worried about giving up 2 future 3rd round picks because you know what, we're going to get 2 6 in return. And we got apparently the prize for the NFL draft's biggest bidding war in the middle rounds, at least, that we can confirm. A whole lot of future Hall of Famers wanted that guy on their sideline, and the Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes, found a way to Scooby-Doo it and win it, get him over here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I think we're going to be talking about this one for years to come because if this guy really does pan out like all these brilliant minds seem to think he's going to, we're going to look back and say, hey, we gave up a couple 3rd round picks to get this stud receiver or whatever he's going to end up being. I don't know, but I feel a whole lot more swell of intrigue for this guy, Isaac Tisla, because you look at all the different guys who wanted him on their sideline versus letting him walk. So let me know your thoughts. Do crew comment section. I probably rambled on a little too long about this one. So let's get over to you guys, see what you have to say. But Isaac Tisla, man, clearly he might not have been widely known, and maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, I don't know. But it does seem like the Senior Bowl, the happenstance with some of those other guys getting injured, which opened the doorway for him to get in there, that seemed to really push his draft stock up because while people watch film, people break things down, there's nothing like seeing it with your eyes. And apparently all these guys, just like Brad Holmes, they got there, they knew about him, they didn't know a lot about him, they saw him go through that and said, yeah, we need to get this dude. So good for him, man. Talk about a great moment in time for an individual person. All right, Michael D, greetings, salutations, coach and do crew, exclamation point, one pride, woo, and back at you. JDC, morning all, same to you, Kerry, morning crew, and to Kerry. Johnny L, I see you, JDC, 100%. Silver Surfer, good morning, coach and everyone. All right, bye, same to everybody. Susan Scott, morning, do crew. I read about this Saturday. I thought it was just the Rams. We beat out to draft Tesla, man. But anyways, yes, I did see the part about that. I mean, heck, you can Google it, and they have it in Google results. The Lions and Rams got into it. Those were the two finalists for the 70th pick. But there are other reports from NFL Network, Ian Rappaport, or however you say his name, confirming that Philadelphia and the Broncos tried to also get in the mix there. Apparently, they just got outbid. So it happens, man. Johnny L, good morning to everyone here. Same to you. JDC, morning, Johnny L. Jason Berry, hey, haven't seen you in a hot second. Greetings, salutations, Lions faithful. Good to see you, Jason. Protecting the tree of destiny, no doubt. Big Eddie, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. It appears once again that the media doesn't know much, and Holmes truly is on top of his game. Yeah, and I get from a media standpoint, whether it's ESPN, CBS Sports, or whoever else you want to list, they got to produce content to get it out there because, you know what? They're in the content business. They're in the entertainment business, the news media reporting business. So they got to put out stuff all the time. That's why you have, 47,000 different mock drafts from the same company all the time. Does information really change that much in 15 minutes where you got to put out another one? No, but they do have to produce stuff. And the other part is people watch it. So you're going to keep doing it. But to your point, though, it does go to show that what NFL teams think about a player, a draft board, how they value guys is probably vastly different than what the media does. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Winning, exclamation point, woo, and good to see you. Johnny L, in the Lions I trust, I think so, 100%. Gary, Tigers 13, Angels 1. Hey, Angels needed way more than one. And good for the Tigers, man. Clark, so if everyone appears to have wanted Tesla, I wonder what the other teams were offering. It helps explain why we traded all those third rounders. 100%. The only one I know of, Clark, is that the Rams were offering, this year's third and next year's second round pick. So let that sink in. The Rams were willing to give up their second most valuable draft pick out there to acquire that guy. They had a real high grade on him, it would appear. Trim Raver, good morning, coach, and the world famous Duke Crew. Woo! Back at you, Trim. Silver Server. Lions beat out somebody, question mark. Either way, I think they got the players they needed. I'll go with that. It wasn't best player available. It was filling needs. Of course, if an obvious phenomenon was there, they'd go best player available. I'll go with that. I do think they identify who fits what they want to do. They go out to acquire those guys. Kerry, Big Eddie, Kerry, they are off to a great start. Yes, they are. Jason, Brad, Midas Holmes, everything he touches turns to gold or Honolulu blue. Very true, Jason. Detroit D, greetings, salutations to the Duke Crew, and back at you. I'll add to the Hun. 1, sign Zadarius Smith. 2, get back injured starters and key reserves. 3, incorporate the rookies and second-year players. That equals the Super Bowl. I think you're right. I think we're all going to be celebrating a Super Bowl appearance this year. Mike the Marine, Gunny. Howdy, Dan and Duke Crew. Woo! And back at you, Gunny. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. Tisa looks like he caught the attention of multiple teams. Shake my head. That's why I don't freak out when someone says we could have drafted them later. Are you sure about that? Yeah. And that's anytime you select a player, there's always a possibility you could have got him later or somebody could step up and get him. It does appear, and you guys all watched it happen in the draft. I had this guy rated at 180. You could have got him as an undrafted free agent. Why did you draft him here? And then you find out, like this story here today, that, you know what, apparently a quarter of the teams in the league wanted to move up to get this guy once they found out people were about to draft him. So that's why you got to take everything the media says with a grain of salt, unless somebody really knows, which more often than not, probably they don't. Man Bear, good morning. Back at you. Jess, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew, still overpaid. If this is about Tesla does make me feel better that other teams wanted him badly. Laughing out loud. Maybe overpaid, but I would say this, Jess, if you want to go that route, that's fine. No, nothing wrong with that, but you would not have gotten him if you would have waited one more pick. That part, I think we can all agree on at this point. One of those teams, if not others, would have stepped up and got him at number 70. The non-laughers, good morning, Dan and the Duke Crew starters, exclamation point, and back at you, Drake. Makes sense why the Rams would want him. Yeah, I think you put him out there with Puka Nacua. You want Cup's gone, etc. They need some more offensive weapons. I get it, and he does kind of fit what a lot of teams like to do. I mean, you look at Philadelphia and Brown on one side, and then you'd have Tisla on the other side. That's a matchup problem for a lot of defenses, and thankfully the Lions now present that problem to defenses. Server, the national media needs to write something. If you want to know better, you have to go see for yourself what they are doing and hear the local sources, as there is always somebody who knows something. Yeah, somebody knows something. You guys all probably know the saying, the only way to keep a secret with 3 people, if 2 of them are deceased. We'll go that way because somebody's going to talk at some point. I'll add to the hunt. The only people who are saying that Detroit reached for Tisla are the teams that were, not able to draft him. I think that might be a great statement. Gary, I'll add to the hunt. Agreed? Me too, man. Me too. Hookadoo. Morning, Duke Crew. One prime, exclamation point. Good point at Clark Griswold about the 3rd-round picks. Yeah, I mean, you do what you got to do with the 3rd-round picks, but at the same time, if you're getting a guy that really you feel is that impactful, then you know what? Good luck replicating that with all 3 of those 3rd-round picks. Maybe they could, though. The Lions front office is pretty sound, but they're also the same front office that said, we're okay with getting rid of those to go and get this dude. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Love that, Alad of the Hun. And the fans who were upset with the what we paid clearly didn't know the player or how many teams were after him. Yeah, probably true. Most of us don't know, and that's why I always try to say to people, wait a couple days, wait a week, and more information comes out. I mean, think about what we've learned since the end of the draft. Lions tried to trade for up to number 5 in the first round, number 9 in the first round, number 15 in the first round. Philadelphia tried to trade from 32 to 28 to get their player. Lions turned it down because they wanted Williams. So does that make you feel better about taking Tyleik Williams? At least to me it does, because it means somebody else probably wanted him. Somebody else had a similar grade and value chart on him. Same with Tisla. I mean, Tisla, it's real clear at this point. A lot of NFL teams thought this kid could really play. And you know what? We got him. You didn't. Johnny L, that you got that right, Alana. There you go. 70 Water, my question is, how does everyone know other teams is about to draft a player so the bidding war begins? It's speculation on my part, but just having done this for a while, been around it, here's what I would say would happen in, say, a basketball situation. You contact me, and I did this. I'm not even going to try to deny it. You contacted us about a draft pick or a player. We'll just say it's a current player. I'm having some of my other subordinates get on the phones with other teams that we know have some interest to say, hey, Dan's already pulled this, trigger on trading this player over to this guy's. You guys want to, you need to make the phone call now if you want him. Just because your job is to get as much for that pick or player as you possibly can. So you put the word out there as best you can. Sometimes, not to discredit anything, you even contact the media and say, hey, we're about to trade player A or draft pick A to this team. Get it out there, because you know what? That also helps get the information out to other teams, etc. And what's that do? Drives up the price. France, that's a pretty good question. I bet the Jags had an idea who the teams wanted and advertised that. Yeah, 100%. Push the price up for that pick just a guess. Yeah, 1,000%. No questions there. Server. For example, if you know a janitor at the Detroit headquarters, you might get to know a whole lot more than the press. Darn, I need a job like that so I can tell Brad Holmes who they are, who the good running backs are with the mop. There you go. And I can tell you, as not so much in sports, but when it came to like media, government, etc., when I would work for different newspapers or, media information outlets, you would get to know people on all sorts of different levels in different organizations, because somebody is going to be, say, this stenographer at the boardroom meeting, or somebody who just overhears stuff in the hallway, and they will pass that on. They're going to want a little cheddar in their hand for that information, but you know what? That's how those relationships typically begin. Carrie, well, do you think we might have gotten more than 2 starters? Who knows? But clearly, what we can say, Carrie, is a lot of different teams thought that highly of Tisla to go get him. Brad Holmes, who's at the end of the day, he's the guy running the show. He said, it doesn't matter if we give up these 3rd-round picks. We know this guy is going to be something, or at least that's the hope. He's going to be something. Hookadoo, Stephanie Water, Brad Holmes is just a better cook than other GMs. That could be very true. Henry Moore, good morning. Coach Dan and the Duke crew. What a team. What a podcast. What a time. Be a Lions fan. Woo! And good morning to you. JDC, Only the shadows know. That might be true. Trey, I'd have that on blast, telling everybody these guys are trying to trade with us to draft this player. Who else wants in? Yeah, 100%. You're doing right by yourself. You're trying to push that price up, and away. Stephanie, Hookadoo, laughing out loud, might be true. Trim Reaper, maturity isn't an age, it's a destination. There you go. Five Fingers Freddy, morning crew. So the experts appear to have been wrong yet again. I will go with that. Miles Marker, green sanitations coach, crew, the Lions Pride. Still no internet, but better cell service this morning. Thanks again for the good wishes. Hey, hopefully you're doing okay, man, and hopefully they get your internet back sooner versus later. Johnny L, JDC, laughing. Virgil, Derek was blowing mad on his show up when we made the trade. Wonder if he's changed his tune. Who knows, man? And I get when we don't have all the information, sometimes people react one way or the other. Jim, good morning, Duke Crew. The best offensive line and top 5 defense line. It is our year. I think you are right. I think it is going to be our year, Jim. Silver, Stephanie Wire. There must be a lot of honest talk, especially among GMs that are in good relationship with one another, even making straight player names. Plus, they talk to player representatives. Yeah, 100%. They get the word out. I think you're spot on there, Silver. Okay, yeah, Miles Wire. You have Heaven out of the loop forever now. Who is responsible for your internet? We'll find out. Silver. And don't forget spies. Yes, people, every team does have guys that will leak information out to other teams because they will get additional cash from other teams for it. Plus, they're trying to move up the charts, trying to get a higher rated job at another spot or location. So, Virgil Rose, a lot of pods were, I think, just about all of them slammed Holmes for the trade. Yeah, I know he took a lot of shade for it and a lot of fire. Johnny, sounds to me like Miles Marker is a survivor. Yes, 100%. Him and a lot of people in Northern Michigan have been surviving and going through some difficult times for, nearly 2 months now. Pat, Coach, how many confirmed trade attempts did Brad Holmes go for? The ones that I can easily think of, obviously this one with Tisla, but you got the one where they tried to move up again with the Jags to the number 5 pick in the first round. Then you got the Atlanta Falcons at 15, Saints at 9, Philadelphia Eagles tried to trade from 32 to 28. I'm sure there's many others we don't know about yet. All right, Trim Reaper, I've been sick with an ear infection all week. Feels like it's cleared finally. Oh, yeah. Well, congrats, man. Hopefully it's getting better. So, Steve Rogers, Mossberger, any ETN when you'll have your net back? We'll find out. Steve, good morning, Coach Dan and the Mountain Dew crew. Exclamation point. Lions are going to the Super Bowl. I think you were right with that. Spot on with that. Miles Barr, how you Hookadoo? Progressive Island installed fiber optic 2 years ago. They're getting near maybe a mile away now. Good. Glad to hear it. Phil, good morning. Back at you. That happens every year. Sosmo, there you go, Johnny. The Central Scrutinizer, Green Sanitation's coach and Duke Crew. The future's so bright, we have to wear shades. One pride. Woo! And I think you're right. I think this Detroit Lions team, not just this upcoming season, but for the foreseeable future, is going to be pretty dang good. Hookadoo, you've got some real Lions grit, Miles Meyer. Keep on trucking. Grit wins. Yes, it does. Miles Meyer heard some city boys in Indian River yesterday complaining they can't find many turkeys to hunt. Thousands of birds and critters were killed in the storm. Yes, unfortunately, they probably were. Johnny L. Hutch is getting stronger now. Yeah, I would say I think by the time we get to week 1 of the regular season, he's going to be basically 100%. Bo Scrutinizer, you got to get a set of cheap sunglasses. There you go. Yeah, I don't pay big money for mine. I get them off the dollar rack. Gary, now if we can only get containment and pressure consistently, let's see what they do. Hookadoo. That stinks, Miles Marker. Voltron Force, good morning, crew. Back at you. Miles Marker, I sure hope so, Hookadoo. Still have huge snails of falling trees, snags of fallen trees hanging over driveway and back of home. So it goes a little bit better every day, 100%. Hopefully you guys get right in sooner versus later. Phil, what about Aleem, Rodrigo, Barnes, and the other injured players? Most of our guys had serious injuries. None will be 100%. The training staff will get them ready. But sort of like we talked about a couple days ago, I think Aleem and Rodrigo, you're probably looking a month or 2 or 3 into the season. Barnes, I'm guessing he'll be okay come opening day. Johnny, no worries here. Hookadoo, if your house is threatened, Miles Martyr, they should make your house a priority. You would think so? Carrie, want to see the dang schedule? Hey, you got about a week and a half to go. JC, Green Sanitation's coach and Duke Crew, back at you. Rocky, good morning. All still saying 4 players from the draft lucky to make this team unless our other drafts are not as good as advertised. Yeah, for somebody to make the team, somebody else has got to lose. So I get your point. Vincent E., good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke crew. Back at you. 9 drinks. What's that? I missed something for sure. Jump on in. Hopefully you're caught up by now. Johnny, oh yeah, good morning. And back at you. Greetings, salutations, says 9 drinks. John Doe, get your cup of coffee. There you go. Get your cup of coffee. Central Scrutinizer. Bo, we're bad. We're nationwide. Yes, we are. Miles Mark, good news. Morrow's having a bumper year because getting a lot of sunlight. Hey, that is true. You will get some more sunlight with all the trees down, unfortunately. JDC, Dre Ford's rocks. Any rolls? Robert, woo! Robert, Miles Marker is back 100%. Mark, coffee and Lions Talk Live does not get better than that. Hey, thanks for saying that. Glad to have you here as always, my friend. Brent, good morning, Dan and Duke crew. Some idiot said Hutch looked gimpy in the video, question mark. I thought he looked pretty good. Oh, yeah. I didn't see any hitching his giddy up or whatever. He looked fine to me, but maybe I missed something. Motown Mitch, what up, though? Lions rule, Bears drool. My favorite pick was Tesla, a.k.a. Vanillatron. There we go. Gary, tasty shrooms. Yeah, about that time of year almost. Hookadoo, Miles Meyer, Brett DeWitt, Roar. There you go. Hey, Aaron, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Can't wait to see what the drafted and undrafted players turn out. Hey, we'll get to see them for an extra week with now 4 preseason games. Brent, howdy, Miles Meyer, Hookadoo, Grit. There you go. Motown Mitch. Brett, those guys are idiots. Hey, it happens, man. It happens. John Doe, right? Jonathan, good morning. JDC, Puff, woo, coffee, and Lions Talk Live. Lions do or die, 92 vet. Gas, Duke crew, go Lions. I'll go with that. Miles Barker, good morning, Brent. Central Scrutinizer, is it true? Question mark. I heard some of the undrafted free agents are signing elsewhere because they don't think they can make the roster in Detroit. Yes, that is true. You've had a couple of them. I want to say one of them was a cornerback who went with the Rams because he looked at the Lions lineup and said, it's gonna take a lot to make that team. So they are. I mean, I get it. I don't fault any of them for it. They got to make a business decision. Do they think they can make the 53-man team here or there? Because at the end of the day, they're just trying to get a paycheck and a career. Johnny L, if Z-Boom is resigned, that will be insane. I think he's going to just in time. Rocky or Coach Rock, the other teams are saying that they are the toughest schedule. They have to play the Detroit Lions. Woo! They are looking at that and saying that's a tough game. So while we all have our opinion that we've got the 3rd toughest schedule, just about everybody else looks at the Detroit Lions and say, man, that's going to be a tough game to win. Johnny B, good. How about that? Rocky, and it feels good to finally be able to say that. Yes, it does. JDC, Motor City Duke crew, Silver. We hear every morning. I look at what you write and your logos, pictures, man. I communicate with all these people I don't know. One day I might have to hop on my board and come to see you one by one. Hey, there you go. Come on over. Both 14-3. I'll take that. Keith, good morning and greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and the Duke crew. Exclamation point. The Lions will be all the way to the Super Bowl. I like the way you're thinking. Kerry, 14-3. Central, 14-3. Hi, Jan Fishing. Take the over and wins this year. I'll do that. Trim Reaper, this year's Lions offense will be number 1 in the NFL. Oh, yeah. I'll go with that. Yeah, and I think they've got a lot of potential for that. Hookadoo, yep, 14-3. Johnny, 14-3. John, 13-4. JDC, from the deep end of the pool, Lions 17-0. Go Lions. I'm down with that. Dynamite, 12 games max. The defense is suspect. Okay, hey, I'll take a 12-win season, though. Henry Moore, 14-3 for me. Kurt Steele, what up, though, Duke crew? What's up, man of Steel? Trim Reaper, 13-4. Central Scrutinizer, 20-0. I'll go with that for JDC. Brent, 12-5. Hookadoo. Morning Man of Steel. Jonathan, 11-6. Dynamite, the D-line suspect. Okay. JDC, the Central Scrutinizer, even better. Kurt Steele, Hookadoo, good morning. Phil's, 10-7. Bo, we have the usual suspects. Yeah, we usually do, don't we? Johnny, our defense is not suspect. Trim Reaper, the hitman is in the house. Yes, he is. Rise and shine, all. Brent, Kurt Steele, salute. Mary, good morning, everybody. Back at you. Carrie, agreed, Johnny L. JDC, I was a suspect once. They eliminated me. Hey, all right. Silver Coach, yesterday I said starting lineup, all O-line, Decker, Mahogany, Ragnow, Rat Pack, Sewell. But I was also thinking not so easy counting Glasgow out because of his expertise. 2 rookies, not easy to see. Hey, we'll see. Let the best person win. That's what I'll say. Johnny L., we own the South again. Yes, we do. Central Scrutinizer, just make the dance. That's all that matters. Yes, make the playoffs. And, yeah, from there, anybody can win. Let's see, Silver Mahogany, almost rookie. Almost he is. But yes, he's got some experience. Kurt Steele, Brett DeWitt, salute my guy. Let's see, Miles Meyer, hiya, Robert. Thanks for the good wishes. Grit, Bo, my pick lines were always suspect. Hey, it happens. Rob, easy, 14-3 with the Tasmanian Devil. Diesel helping out the team. Woo! I'll go with that, Robin. I think, hey, that's a good call there. Good call. JDC laughing. Dynamite. I watch football and play football. The D line is suspect until proven otherwise. All right, I'm down with that. Let him prove it. There you go. Central Scrutinizer. I think Dan Jackson is being overlooked. Could be. Dynamite. Linebackers and D line. Okay, without Hutch. Correct. All right. Keith, anywhere from 14-3 to 17-0. I'll take that. See, Kerry Bo, you were rotating. Yes, he was. Lionel, greetings, salutations. Do crew from Marquette. Exclamation point, 13-4. This season will end, yes, with Tesla having impact. Lightning and Thundercats. Oh, hey, good to see you, my friend. It's been a hot second. Bo, I once called a girl my girlfriend's name. Oops, yeah, I can see that going badly. Phil, good morning from Marquette. Congrats. Trim Reaper, Raymond may be on his way out. You know, he's got 1 year left on his contract, I believe, so this will be a pivotal year for him. Silver Surfer. I wonder if he plays like Asawaka, veteran but still young with the size and weight, can keep developing his strength and skill in the offseason and overtake Glasgow, who is no longer improving. Yeah, he's unfortunately for Graham, he's probably near the end of his career, one way, shape, or form. Hookadoo. Oh, Boo-Boo, that is a big boo-boo. Yes, it is. Gary laughing. Trim Reaper laughing. JDC. Boo-Boo, ouch, 100%. Bo, slip of the nip sinks ships. Yes, slip of the lips sinks ships. Hookadoo, Bo laughing. James, good morning, Duke Crew. Do you think that Zadarius Smith is coming back to the Lions, or have they really moved on from him? I think he is going to return. Brad Holmes did say that it's on his court at this point. They made him an offer. I just personally think, given his age and such, he's trying to wait until basically training camp or halfway through training camp. Doesn't want to go through all that grind. You see a lot of veterans try to go for that if they can. Frank saying, tell them all, Dan, go Lions. I will tell them all, go Lions. John, I wonder why the entire NFL has paused on Z Smith so far. They may have made him offers. It's just he may have already said, hey, I'll get to it when I get to it. I think he knows he's going to have offers. He's just taking his time. Phil, biggest question mark is the coaching. Players make the plays, but coaches call plays. This is true. Ziggy and friends, it would be nice to have Z back. I think we'll get him back. J-Mo, coach, sometimes it's hard to compare productivity between O-line and receivers. Yeah, two different spots for sure. Mark, it is nice just not to be in the bottom of the rankings like we have been the prior 3 years. Yeah, prior to 3 years ago. Correct with that. Dynamite. Does Miles Frazier and Dan Jackson make the roster? I think Frazier does. Jackson, right now, until they bring in some other safeties, I think he's got a good shot because, again, he is very, very athletic and his special teamer. Dynamite, I say yes. I'll go with that. Ziggy and friends, the edge rusher. There you go. Frank the Tank. Detroit Lions team has gotten better on the offseason, and the rest of the 31 NFL teams have not gotten better. So it's about to be epic, boys. I like the way you're thinking. JDC. Lionel, howdy from the south of the Yoop. We'll go with that. Rocky, don't want Morgan Cannon making picks for the Lions. There we go. Yeah, probably a good move there. Johnny L, Detroit Lions are going to be great. I think so. Trim Reaper, Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. Oh, yeah. I didn't know if everybody would get the Paul Harvey reference, but yes, clearly at least one person did. Central Scrutinizer, Morgan and Kuiper are smoking the devil's lettuce. Might be. Silver Server, we often wonder why don't they keep Zaboom and Zettler, but I think some teams' money is very important. That's why save 1 year might allow them to backload a contract and save more cap next year. Yeah, Zeitler sounds like he just wanted to be closer to family, which is why he chose Tennessee. Zaboom, I get it. You didn't want to pay him $12 million a year. Didn't think it was worth that. Sounds like he's been made an offer. Now, how much? I don't know. J-Mo Lion King, Morgan Cannon probably studied economics in college, and we all know that means you can predict numbers any ways you want. Yes, you can make them all look any way you want to fit your agenda. Trim Reaper, if I were the devil, there you go. JDC, Sentinel Scrutinizer, me too. Hookadoo. Well, not knowing much of why the heck did you do that, but Brad Holmes was on top of it and hit a home run. It does appear, although you got to wait and see the guy in the field, right? But it does appear like he knew exactly what he was doing. Keith, Williams on the defensive line will be a stud right away. I think so too, man. Michael, if the Lions were a one-back team, then Gibbs would have 2,000 yards season. However, we got two backs that get 1,000 yards each, so how can anyone complain about that? Hey, keep them healthier, too. JDC, Erie Plan B. Johnny, see you tomorrow morning. We'll see you then, my friend. Server, all rookies will be make the same except maybe Lovett, whom I like a lot, but I count on him, too. This is for Dolo. There you go. Lad of the Hun. Well, look at how the Rams draft and who was a part of that front office. Tisla was a great pick. Yeah, Brad Holmes was a part of that office. David, 12-5, hookadoo. Look at Ahmed Hussein, and look at he's looking to be in the future edge of our lines. Yeah, I think he's going to work his way up the chart. You just got to give him time. Bo, I was too busy laughing at the negative reaction to have formed an opinion, but it sure looks better now. Yeah, the more information we get, that trade up to get the 70 pick is looking smarter and wiser. JMO Lion King, server. I'm not sure if we are getting Zeitler prime anymore. Zedarius will not start anymore, but probably worth one more year. Could be that. Could be. Trim Reaper, Tisla was a Kurt Steele. Was a Kurt Steele. There you go. Yeah, Kurt Steele did know about him. He did have some information I want to say on him. Server, sir, you know what I think about Isaac? I am enthusiastic about everything he brings to the table. We said from day one, good to hear confirmations. Yeah, especially when you look at who else wanted him. That's a lot of good talent trying to acquire that guy. Coach Rock, with the third rounders they traded away, probably had a little chance of making this team next year as late as they would have been for a Super Bowl team. Correct with that. You look at the age of this team, who they're going to potentially have to move on from. It's going to be harder and harder for incoming rookies to make the team. Nick, got to agree, 11-13 wins. There you go. JDC, go Lions, go Tigers. Server, JMO Lions King for sure. Then it was even more important that they save money on them, but I still hope Zedarius Smith will be back for 1 year. Let's see if he can. Don Burr, Detroit Lions need to drop that behind the scenes draft day video. I think they will in time. You're already getting some from like Philadelphia's front office. That's why we knew they tried to move up to 28 with Detroit Lions and other teams. Give it time. Everybody's going to release Jazz. Eastside Detroit. All the top GMs watching Brad, watching talent. There you go. This is true. If you figure out somebody else has got a good eye for things, you're going to be trying to get some information out of them. Dynamite Lions need D-line to be better. Let's see if they can do that. Ziggy and friends, 10-7. All right. Keith, Isaac Tisla in the long run will be making some Pro Bowls, ! And helping the Lions win multiple Super Bowls this year, 14-3 or more. Lions Super Bowl bound. Woo! I like the way you're thinking. Kerry, Panthers won yesterday? Yes, they did. Ladalon, I love Brad Holmes. Haters quit being quiet now that the facts are coming out. Yes, everybody kind of got a little tight-lipped now that we all know. Dynamite, Brad Holmes is not good. We'll go with that. Sarah, I heard that Rat Pack has not been one of the healthiest players in college. Let's hope, health is the most important thing nowadays. So he did have some injuries last year in college, but he played through them for the most part. Trim Reaper, where is Johnny Gas? Maybe he's getting ready, I don't know, for work or something. That I don't know. Kerry, Brad and Dan have had the best pick record since I've been alive. Might be true. Very true. T-Bone Lokes, did you John sign with Lions? Not that I'm aware of. Server. Hussein is the beast, but he is a kid. Needs to mature, learn, but I will not underestimate the rookie's enthusiasm. Yeah, I think we all agree on that. That kid has got something going on there. Keith, Dola Dynamite, the D-line will be better right away, ! With Williams making a huge impact his first year. Yes, see, Super Bowl bound. Woo, I like the way you're thinking. Mary Smith, good morning. Holmes knows what he's doing. I'm good with the draft. Now just sit back and watch some good football this season. Go Lions. I like it. I like it indeed, and I think you're spot on with that, Mary. Server, not that I know. Hey, it happens. Trim Reaper, I don't think so, T-Bone. Trim River, wouldn't mind. Kerry, T-Bone, that was clickbait. All right. Let's see. Bobo Judan is rumors. Okay, we'll go with the rumors. Pierce Sergeant, Bobo, you know what to do. There you go. Bo, no. Nick, second, let's see, NFL's second best going in, ! Finally, Detroit Lions getting some well-deserved respect. You might be spot on with that there, Nick. See, Brett, no. Keith, Dola Dynamite, and Zedarius Smith will be back. He probably will be. Pierce Brad, who also knows. James, who's going to help Aiden in the pass rush since Zedarius is gone? Right now, man, it looks like Josh Pascal, Alaquin Muhammad, Levi Owens Enrique, or Marcus Davenport. Kerry, Z is going to be back. I think so. Brent, keep Z in the D. I like the way you're thinking. West Coast line, always one pride. Good morning from California. Hey, you got up real early for the show, so just because you got up so early, let's give you a 1, 2, and a 3. And there you go. John, happy Cinco de Mayo. There you go. Yes, there you go. Pat Z is coming back to the D. I think so. Avery T. Hey, Dan, if Goff has another playoff performance like he did in the last game, he's going to lose his job. And will the fans will definitely turn him? What do you think? If he has another really bad playoff game, hey, it probably opens up the conversation what they have to do that offseason. Wait and see, though. I still think he's going to be right as rain because, that obviously helps the team for him to perform at a high level. John Doe, in the top of this, it's my birthday month. Oh, yeah. Well, happy birthday month, my friend. Carl, Talik, and Tate are going to be rock the house. Yes, I think so. Trim Reaper, say no to Davenport. There we go. Pierce, Trim Reaper, always say no to Davenport. The lad of the hunt, Dan, you think you buy your sunglasses off the Brad Holmes, off the dollar Rat Pack? Yeah, 100%, man, just because I know they're going to get trashed. I have a bad history in my life of they get broken real quick, so I spend $2 or $3 on them, and that's it. Trim Reaper laughing. Pierce, the Trim Reaper, at least we can say yes to Ahmed now. Yes, I'll go with that. Nick, I never doubted Brad in the draft. Look what he has done so far. Exclamation point, respect. I'll go with that. Trim Reaper, hex yeah. There we go. What can I do? Sounds like something Butsky would say about Hutch. Might be, maybe. Brent, bingo, Hookadoo, laughing out loud. Keith, I think Ahmed, after some more training, defensive end will also be a stud. Dolo Dynamite, exclamation point. I see Pro Bowls in his future. Yeah, could be very true. Amy, good morning. Dan, the Duke Crew, exclamation point. Have a great day, everyone. Have a super day. Subscribe. Pinch all the buttons. Yeah, pinch, slap, whatever you got to do, hit all the buttons, right? Trim Reaper, I was married for a year, one night. All right, there you go. Congratulations. Silver Server, you know what, Coach? Question mark. I think rookie cornerback Galvin Holmes might be here to stay. He signed unique case, a 3-year deal, and he already is 26 years old. He got the hop and runs a 4.4. Yeah, there have been a couple of guys that were undrafted free agents. Lions really gave some nice contracts to. He could be a person of interest for sure. Kerry, that's what we need. Z Keith, there you go. Brett, Silver Server agreed. Graham Glasgow isn't giving up his spot without a fight. Very true. I wouldn't have respect for him if he did. Offensive line room might be a battle for sure. I think it's going to be a huge battle. Miles Marker, Brent, I'm losing cell bandwidth now. Hope to see you all others afternoon on Roar Lions UK. One Pride. Hey, go get some bandwidth. And hey, sorry for everything you're going through up in the north, man. Ziggy and friends, I like Tisa. Me too, man. Good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Hookadoo. May the internet be with you, young Jedi. Miles Marker, go Lions. Trim Reaper, just getting Ziggy with it. There you go, getting Ziggy with it. Miles Marker, laughing out loud. Hookadoo, you got my back, 100%. Keith, Kerry, yes, we do. We need Z Smith back. Exclamation point. JDC, Magic 8 Ball says Z Factor will be back. I agree, says Trim Reaper. JDC laughing. Brent, Miles Marker, there's always something thinking of you, buddy. Stay safe, 100%. JDC, Miles Marker, stay safe. Keep cutting, hacking, and sawing. Yeah, work your way out of the issue, man. Trim Reaper, have a great Monday, Coach and Duke Crew. Woo! And same to you. Make it a great one. Miles Marker, laughing out loud. JDC, T-Bone Looks, disregard Judon. Just YouTube sleight of hand. It happens, man. It happens. Chris Steele, see you guys at 8 a.m. We'll see you in a few moments, my friend. Keith, Tigers will be the World Series. Lions will be in the Super Bowl. What a year. Woo! Hey, man, could be signs of the apocalypse. Brett, Judon might have a good year. Maybe Father Time is catching up with him. He was injured last year, to be fair with him. He had, I want to say, a biceps injury. Still had 5.5 sacks, so even with that injury. JDC, happy trails, go Lions victory. Back at you, Nick. I'm glad we have an aggressive GM. Yeah, I'd rather be aggressive than passive. That's my nature, though. Bo, happy trails, Duke Crew. All done and dusted. See you tomorrow. We'll see you then. Phil, have a great day, Coach, and thanks. Hey, anytime, my friend. Thank you for being here. JDC, sit high in the saddle, fellow Lions Talk Livers. There you go. Enjoy the ride. Hookadoo, for the Goff has no trade clause of no trade. We have Goff for a few more years, and I'm okay with it. Yeah, 100%. He's not going anywhere unless he wants to go somewhere. Hookadoo, happy trails, Duke Crew. Roar, Detroit. Oh yeah, I'll go with that. Brett, happy trails, One Pride worldwide. Man, I can't believe I made it through all the comments. There was a lot of them. All right, guys, if there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. If you would be so kind on checking out, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Be a good human being. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. And we'll see you guys all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir, would you...
Donations to the Reverend Moon.
Jews for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness. How about Buddhism? Help Jerry's kids. Oh, yeah. Scientology.
Or nuclear power?